And welcome into the JUCO Rush. I'm Mike Fraser. He's Robert Williamson as we talk JUCO football. It is championship week. The SWJCFC, Texas style, baby. They go at it. Navarro and Tyler going at it as they play for the conference championship down there in the Lone Star State. So that's a big football game. Robert Williamson, how you doing, partner?
Man, I'm doing great. This is a rematch, by the way. You know, Navarro in the regular season knocked off Tyler by 25. But that game now doesn't mean a darn thing. It's the big one this Saturday.
Boy, Mason Short for Navarro. You've got Will Cornelson, Darian White for Tyler on the defensive side, among many other studs that are going at it in Texas. All right, let's jump into it right away. We got a lot to cover, so let's take a look at the latest NJCAA football poll. And there you have it, Robert. Georgia Military gets jumped by Hutchinson. Georgia Military falls to number 3. That really the big news coming out of the NJCAA this week. One more vote. The big vote will come later on this weekend. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to withhold most of my thoughts because the polls that come out in 1 week obviously have more bearing. Plus, they will have fewer participants. So we'll wait and see if Georgia Military stays 3. I kind of suspected it. Don't like it. But I think, and Hutch's got a great program, by the way, but I just think Georgia Military was 2, deserved to stay there at number 2. And 2, now you got Northwest Mississippi kind of creeping up. You know, there's only 5 points that separate GMC and Northwest Mississippi. So it's going to be interesting.
It will be. That's what we'll wait to see what the committee decides on when they vote on that. I think they do that on Sunday, actually. So we'll see. Let's take a look at our top 6 here. This is the JUCO Rush top 6. You see mine right there. Iowa Western at number 1. They are locked and loaded at the 1 slot after that victory to close out the campaign. They run the table, all but 1 loss. Hutchinson I have at number 2, Georgia Military 3, Northwest 4, and then my 5 and 6 right now. Those are my teams, Navarro and Tyler, as they go at it in the conference championship. Robert, what do you have?
I can completely agree with your 6, but I got a little different. I got Snow still in the mix. Iowa Western 1, Georgia Military at 2, Hutch at 3, Northwest at 4. I put Snow at the 5 spot because of their wins over Lackawanna, and of course their losses came to top 4 teams. And then Navarro, man, they're playing some great football. Of course, they got a big game this weekend we'll talk about. There in my 6 spot.
That's right. And you talk about guys that have played well. Let's take a look at our players of the week. I'm going to start with my guy. I'm staying down in Texas, going with Mason Shore. This guy here has just been flat out a stud. Through again, another solid effort, getting the win over Cisco 28-21 to advance to that conference championship. Really looking forward to watching this guy play this weekend for the conference championship game. I mean, this guy has been nothing short of sensational, really, for the latter 2/3 of the campaign. He is getting it done. And then I'm going, Robert, I'm going to go over to Hutchinson. No, I'm not going with Waymon Jordan. I'm going with that man right there. Look at that guy, Samari Collier, the quarterback. Rushes it well, throws the football well, threw for 3 touchdowns. This guy is, to me, and a lot of people will tell you, he is as equally important just as Waymon Jordan is. Those are the 2 pieces to that train that one without the other, and there's the locomotive isn't as powerful. And I wanted to give Samari some credit and get him up there. That's a good football player, a gutsy kid, and he plays in a quality football conference. So those are my POWs.
By the way, we've seen that train without one of those parts, and it fell apart on that particular weekend when Collier was out of the game. So obviously, he is a huge and integral part of Hutchinson's success.
But you know where Waymon Jordan is, Robert? He is still in the JUCO Weekly Trophy Top 5 contenders. These are mine and Robert's top 5 JUCO Weekly Trophy contenders, the trophy that will be given out on December 17th down in Texas the night before the NJCAA National Championship football game. You see my guys, the usual suspects are up there, Robert. Deckers, Jordan, Demarion Petit, and then Will Cornelson and Darian White, those 2 studs playing that linebacker slot. So those are my 5.
My 5, well, I got 2 that are still up for grabs because, yeah, you got Cornelson, you've got White, you've got Keenan Phillips, you have got Trey Hall still that should be considered. I mean, he's a great back out of Mississippi Gulf Coast. The 3 constants have been Deckers, Petit, and Jordan. I got to admit, me personally, I give everybody a mulligan. Petit's had his. I think Deckers had his last week. Threw for the first time this season more interceptions than touchdowns in a 188-yard performance. But the one guy that's been a consistent who hasn't had to use his mulligan yet is Waymon Jordan.
No doubt, and he has been fantastic, getting a lot of offers too on the Division I level, as are some of the other guys. All right, let's get back to Texas and talk about the SWJCFC championship game. We sat down with both head football coaches playing for the title, and let's start out with let's go Navarro and talk to really one of the good guys around junior college football, and that is Ryan Taylor of Navarro. And back here on the JUCO Rush, the SWJCFC conference championship game is this weekend. It's a big one, Coach. Thanks for jumping on the program. Just your initial thoughts. You and Tyler, and you're very familiar with Tyler. Your history takes you back there, and all that. But just going into this week, what's the vibe down there at Navarro?
Well, it's always good when you're playing at this point in the season. Tyler's done a great job all year. I'll say that as well. Tanner's done a really good job. They got a really good ball team. I think it's going to be a great matchup on Saturday. It's 2 really good teams going at it. It's been great vibes. Anytime you get to the championship week, it's kind of a different I feel in the air in practice and in the weight room and in the film study. So it's been a joy this week going to work with the guys.
Coach, got to ask you about the 2-game skid you had about midway through the season. You run into Kilgore and Blinn, and then all of a sudden, man, you turn it on, full speed ahead with that big win over Trinity Valley. What was the difference in those 2 and the 5 games since?
Well, it's been an interesting season. I'll start with that. I kind of just lay it out to the team as we've been climbing this mountain ever since week 1 when we went up to Garden City. And, there's going to be valleys in the mountain. There's going to be highs and lows, and we just got to keep going forward. I've been really proud of the way the guys have responded week in and week out. And I'll say this, we have a really good sophomore group. Their leadership has really led us even when those 2 losses were going on. They just kept going to work. And they just kept fighting and kept trucking. And, I can't say enough about those guys. It's a really good group. But yeah, I mean, we had took some, some tough ones on the chin against Kilgore. They were a good ball team, and Blinn was a good ball team. And I was really proud of the response of the guys after that. And, I think the guys have just done a great job, just a week in and week out, just answering the challenge and just continue going to work. So.
This is kind of on which came first, the chicken or the egg, I guess. But Mason Shorb has had a great year all year long. But the games in this win streak have been something special for Mason. Which came first, his play and then the better play of the team, or the better play of the team and better stats for Mason?
That's a great question. It's been a joy to watch. Mason's one of those sophomores that I just mentioned. He's got great leadership. He's got a great receiving core around him. The offensive line's done a really good job, and the guys just continue to take the game plan and just continue working. But, Mason didn't start our first 2 games of the season. Orion, our backup, he started against Garden City, and he started against NEO. And, we just kind of thought that some change was necessary just to maybe find a different spark in the offense. And, Mason got his first start against Blinn, and he's just been playing at a really high level, and he's a film junkie, and he just his preparation has really done a good job putting him in this position this year, and he is having a hell of a year. He's just really doing a good job taking the game plan and going week in and week out, and I'm just really proud of his production and of his leadership with our team.
Coach, your offensive line is going to be put to the test today this weekend. I mean, first of all, they've got really great linebackers in White, Cornelson, and then of course their trademark is defense. What do you do? What are you doing this week to prepare as you go up against them?
Well, I mean, Coach Jacobson's done a heck of a job out there. You know, they got a lot of really good football players on defense and really with their whole team. I mean, they would not be in the position that they're in without talent, and their coaches have done a really good job preparing them. They do have a really stellar defense. When they fly around, they give you some problems in some different situations, you know, and we got to be able to exploit those differences and find some things that we can create an advantage in. You know, but I think up front, we're going to have to do a great job because they've got a really good defensive front. You know, just like you said, I mean, I think all of them have really got all kinds of Division I looks and offers. So, I mean, they're going to put us to the test again. And I mean, the first time we played them, it was, you know, I mean, it was a challenge as well. You know, I mean, we knew it going into it. And, you know, I'm just really proud of the guys and how they performed that first time. And I mean, we got to go do it again. And there's never anything easy about trying to beat somebody twice. So, I mean, it's going to be a great challenge for us on Saturday.
What's the hallmark been of your football team this year?
Our response and being resilient and just kind of playing it 1 week at a time. You know, I would say we have not looked forward. We've just kind of stayed in the moment. Guys have just continued to get better, and we've had some injuries going through the season as well. And you know, I've been really proud of the guys that have stepped up after that. You know, our second team and third team guys that have stepped in and that have taken that and you know, have really, you know, just done a great job with, you know, with whatever game plan that we've had and just giving us the best position possible to win. So,
you know, last question. I want to stray away for a moment. Just talk about the conference. I just think it just gets overlooked and taken for granted across the country. I think you guys beat each other up. There's quality teams every year in the Texas Conference. But I just think you guys are a victim of your own success as you guys beat each other up. Is there any talk amongst the coaches, athletic directors, maybe the presidents get involved to where you shorten your postseason to give yourself a better chance at being considered for a playoff on the national scene with the NJCAA? I think this playoff game system hurts you guys nationally.
Yeah, just to answer your question, it has been brought up every year. I think that our conference is very competitive, like you said. But I mean, when you look at all of them, I mean, I'm a big JUCO advocate. I mean, I played junior college ball and I played in this conference, and like you said, you kind of beat up on each other throughout the season. And, you get to the postseason and you're kind of looking around like, okay, we're banged up here and we're banged up there. And where are we going to go from here? But, as far as our postseason, I would like to see it maybe change in the future. But I mean, it also, like at this credit too, I mean, I've seen the third and the fourth ranked teams in our conference run the playoffs and end up winning the conference. So if we shortened it, it would make some changes in that sense as far as the teams that get in. I just think whenever you get in the playoffs, man, you gotta keep, just playing hot, and you got to keep your momentum going, and I think those two things really got to lead you throughout the postseason.
What's more treasured, a conference? I know a national title is, but considering the circumstances, you won a conference championship in the SWJCFC. To me, that's special. Mm-hmm. But I just think it gets overlooked because the talk right now is the national scene. And, but just from your perspective, the conference championship, I know is a big thing for you. How special is it?
Well, I'll say this. In July, in our first team meeting, one of the very first things I talked about was we have two goals for this season. And the first one is to go win the conference. And that's to play the week before Thanksgiving. And if things work out in our favor, then getting into the national playoff scene is, of course, our second goal. But you can't do that one unless you don't win conference. And I always believe that the winner of our conference should at least get a shot or maybe be in the picture of the national playoff scene just because of the talent that's in our conference week in and week out.
Interesting. Man, Coach, we appreciate your time here on the JUCO Rush, and best of luck to you this weekend.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
And there you have it. That's the version of Navarro. Coming up next, we'll talk Tyler football with Tanner Jacobson. This is the JUCO Rush. Tanner Jacobson now joins us, head football coach for Tyler. And Coach, first I want to start with the two guys that are really grabbing a lot of headlines statistically, and that is Will Cornelson and Darian White. Man, these guys have just been flat out rock stars for you. They're both redshirt sophomores. Just what's the journey been like with those two studs?
Yeah, it's been awesome. One of the downsides of junior college football is usually you don't get to see the development as much as you would like, because usually, they're with us with a semester or two, and then they're on to, a 4-year and playing some big time ball on ESPN and stuff like that. And so for Darian and Will, they've really just been awesome in terms of to see their growth and development within the program, not only as players, but as people as well. We have some core values as a team, and our last one is mastery, become the best version of yourself. And those two really epitomize that of, maybe didn't see the field quite as early as they would have liked to. And they both played a little bit last year, but really just buying in and having a team first mindset a little bit last year, and then having the opportunities that they're having right now. They're just two studs, and, kind of the bash bros right next to each other, with kind of their physicality and everything like that. So, they're the meatheads you want to play linebacker for you, for sure. And so it's been nothing but a joy to coach those two.
Coach, you open up the season with a couple of losses, and as a matter of fact, you're leading Georgia Military at halftime. They come back in the second half, win it 35-10, and then all of a sudden you reel off 7 out of 8 wins. What was the difference between the second half of the GMC game and those next 7 or 8?
Yeah, I think the thing about football that may sound cliche is just, football is a game of inches, and it really is. And so we understood that as a team, we weren't far off in those first 2 opponents. And Dodge City and Georgia Military, they're no cupcakes by any means. And so we knew that we were playing good teams, and we did that by design going into the season. And so we just knew that we had good teams, and we knew we had the opportunity to be something special. And so I'm just really proud of this group for just coming together and believing, and not, tearing each other apart. Or, one thing about junior college is it's easy to have one foot in and one foot out the door, just because with the turnover and the quick turnaround. But not these guys. They love each other. They love playing with one another. They're easy to coach. They're very receptive, and they want to win. And so, it wasn't any secret sauce or anything like that. I just really have to give credit to these players.
Home field advantage. Now, you played Navarro once before. You played them in Corsicana. This week for the Southwest Football Junior College Championship, you are playing in Tyler. I've experienced a game in Tyler. It is really special there. Is there a distinct home field advantage playing on your home turf?
I think so, especially at Rose Stadium. That place is special. And so those who have experienced it know exactly what we're talking about. And then, anytime you get the band playing with the atmosphere in Rose City, it's something really, really great. And so, we'll be able to keep the same schedule that we've had for several weeks now, playing at home. And, it is real. And sometimes it's not that way at this level in the junior college, but there are some special places, and I think Tyler's one of them.
You're looking at this contest here. Mason Shorb, their quarterback, is the guy you're going to have to really try to shut down or at least contain a little bit. You've done pretty good against the pass. What do you see on film? I know you can't tip your hand, but what can we expect to see defensively as you attack that Navarro offense?
Yeah, when you coach quarterbacks, you want to see 2 things. You want to see them on time and on target. And Shorb is both of those things for Navarro. And that he's got the keys to the offense, and they really make him go. He's got an understanding of, what they want to do offensively, who they want to get the ball to, and how they want to do it. And so it's just all about getting him off rhythm. And, there's a variety of ways that you can do that. And so we're going to try to get Shorb kind of in a funk, or just make him a little bit uncomfortable in a variety of ways. and hopefully we're successful this time around better than the first time.
What's the key position that we should look for Saturday that's going to be the difference maker for you to win? Is it the linebackers, defensive line? Is it your O-line? What key group of guys is going to have to be productive for you to win?
On both sides of the line of scrimmage, that's really where it's going to be key. If you can own the line of scrimmage and, you can stymie them defensively and you can get some movement up front offensively, it just makes the game so much easier. And so that's really the key matchup that we're looking for. Anytime you can get pressure with 4, you can leave an extra in coverage. If you can't get pressure with 4, you're going to have to manipulate some fronts and some coverages a certain way to make things hard on an offensive line and present some things and do something else and force some protections and force the offense to protect certain ways and then take advantage of it. And so really it's going to be, hey, can our O-line control their D-line and vice versa? Can our D-line be disrupted for their O-line?
Coach, I want to go off the reservation for a second. I want to just talk about the conference in general. We asked Ryan this too. I'm a big fan of the SWJCFC, but the problem I think with the conference is you guys beat each other up. Is there any talk with coaches, athletic directors, or presidents to protect you guys a little more, maybe eliminating a postseason game to put you guys in a better position to be considered for one of the 4 playoff spots? What's the talk around the conference like, if at all, about that?
Yeah, that's something that comes up in the offseason about, just kind of how we want to structure things. It presents some challenges because we're only allowed to have 11 games, right? And so that leaves 2 games for playoffs. And then, if you're playing a certain amount of games, that leaves an odd number of games to play home and away. And so there's definitely some challenges. And, I think the focus is really on our conference. And I think if you go undefeated or win this conference, you should deserve certain opportunities year in and year out. And, there's been so many years just because of the parity in this league where the 3 or 4th seed to make it into the playoffs ends up winning it. And so when that stuff keeps happening, it's hard to justify, taking those 2 teams out per se. It doesn't always work like this year, where the top 2 teams in the regular season end up facing off in the championship.
Yeah, I guess maybe, and look, we're outsiders looking in here. That's just what I see. Maybe, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but maybe that's not at the level of importance that we put it at. Maybe you guys are perfect. You're fine with what it is. If you win the conference and a team is at a 1 or 2 loss window, you get in. Are you okay with that? If in the foreseeable future, things don't change for protection on the national landscape?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where the way we organized our schedule is we've had opportunities early in the year to make our claim of where we should be ranked nationally. And we didn't handle business at the beginning of the year. And so naturally we're in the position that we're in. And so, it's not for lack of effort on any side of trying to get in those national rankings and trying to control your destiny. So I understand how things are. I understand, it's not a perfect science of getting everybody in, and there's budgets and things like that that need to be balanced. And so, I understand where it's at, and I enjoy where it's at. And there's a reason why we schedule our non-conference the way that we do. Is if we would have handled business a little bit better at the beginning of the season, we'd probably be in the conversation for more playoff games after this one. But it's just the reality of what's going on. Whoever's on the bubble, whatever year it is, however it shakes out, that 5th or 6th team, they're always going to be upset. It's just like the conversation with the referees before the game. Hey, no matter whatever call you make, you got half the people, you got coaches on one side yelling at you, either way. So it's just kind of the reality of how everything is set up.
Well, I think Robert will tell you, Coach, you get the line of the year, man. The line of the year. Those 2 meatballs that play the middle linebacker spot, Coach. That's a classic, man. We're gonna frame that one in the JUCO Rush lines of all time here in an inaugural year.
Sounds great, yeah.
That's a great line, man. Coach, man, thanks for your time. We wish you well, and we'll talk to you down the road. Thanks for taking some time to jump on the JUCO Rush.
Awesome. Thank y'all very much, and again, thank y'all for what y'all do for the JUCO. Just the JUCO world, sometimes overlooked, but outlets like this really make a big difference for these kids' lives. So on behalf of Tyler Junior College and those 2 meatballs and meatheads that we're talking about, thank you guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, good guys too. We had Darian White on the program, Robin, earlier in the JUCO Rush campaign. What a great kid he was, and all those guys, man. Special thanks to there you see Tanner Jacobson, the head coach for Tyler, and then earlier we had Ryan Taylor, the head coach for Navarro, on the program. Man, it was good. That was good stuff.
Indeed, and that brings us to the end of the show, and we've got really one key game to talk about.
I wonder what that game that is, Robert. Oh, much to my surprise. Yeah. Robert, where are you going? Who are you going with?
Man, Navarro's been playing some great football here of late. I was with Tyler earlier in the season. I tell you, it's 50-50 in my book, but I'm giving the edge to Tyler because they're playing at home. As I mentioned to Coach, I've been there. That is a unique experience. I'm going with Tyler by about 2 or 3.
All right, man. I'm going with Navarro. I am going to go with Mason Shorb, and I just like the way they're playing right now. Look, this is what this game is. See this coin here? You flip it, heads or tails. Whichever way it lands was either team I could take. So, again, 50-50 game. I hate picking these things because truth is, I don't know, Robert. I mean, I don't know. They're two good football teams. But give me Navarro. I'm going to take Navarro, and I'll stick with that.
Hey, one other game is happening this week, though, by the way. And though it doesn't have a lot of significance for the two teams playing, it could have significance on some teams that aren't playing, and that is Butler and Coffeyville.
Yeah, I'm going to go Coffeyville on this one. How about yourself?
I'm going to lean towards Butler. I mean, heck, I might as well go to the other side of the coin since we were on opposite sides in the Navarro-Tyler game.
Well, both teams with some big-time victories. Look, I think, we talked about the conferences with the SWJCFC. I think Kansas does it the best. They play that whole season. It's a deep league. It's quality football, and whoever's left standing comes out as the champion. I like the way I think they protect that team in that conference, and in this case, this year, it's Hutchinson. They went into the Lions' Den a handful of times this year and pulled out some big wins. So that's the route I go as far as the conferences. Man, next week, Robert, we'll talk about who the final 4 teams. Well, we know who the 4 teams are, but what positions, who will be going where? What a difference in that Hutch, Georgia military swing, because you're talking 65-degree weather to possibly 30-degree weather with a wind chill of maybe 20, that time of year up in the Midwest. So interesting to see how the committee shakes it out here when they vote on Sunday. The JUCO Rush is brought to you by Pepsi. Allen Beverages down there in Gulfport, Mississippi, proud sponsors of the JUCO Rush, and they understand the importance of a community college education and the importance of great athletics that go on at the JUCO level, and they are putting their money where their mouth is, and we are grateful for their support. Robert, we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Mike.
So long.